This is Emily Naylor's point of view. Life is a dumpster fire. My name is Emily Naylor and I'm 19 years old, and I feel like I'm a very skeptical and cynical person, and I feel like you'll see that throughout my entire analysis. My self-portrait is more than just a picture of Emily. It shows the more truthful and emotional side of myself that I never really want to show. So I show the facade that I feel like I have to put on due to social convention, because I feel like it's not really normalized to be sad all the time. I feel like people want to show the happiest, most carefree side of themselves, and they hide the true feelings that they're really feeling all the time. So while I was conducting my research and my analysis, I worked from home because it's comfortable for me and I don't have any distractions, so I just kind of sit there in the dark and deeply think about everything I want to say and make sure it's conveying the right message I want to put forth. I gathered my observations by personal experience, and being a very perceptive person from such a young age has helped me to think deeper about things that are seemingly surface level. So to me, everything in life has meaning. Every bad thought and every action to every great moment and feeling, things happen because it is meant to happen. Everything leads to something, and the way I observe my world is how I observe my assignments. I wanted to put forth my interpretation of each task to allow for a more perceptive meaning and answer to really truly represent how I think. Overall, I spent 3.8 hours total a day on my phone, which I think is relatively good, considering there's a lot of stereotypes about teenagers spending too much time on their phones. I only really use it as an outlet when my head literally feels like it's about to explode from stress. My favorite piece of art that I created throughout this semester was this collage. Although it's very simple, it has a very deep meaning to me. It reminds me to stick to my passions, to stick to myself, and to stick to that pathway to success. I want to be a very unstoppable person. I want to be looked at as powerful, and I want to feel good about myself. It just reminds me to do better for myself. My favorite word cloud is my poetry word cloud. I think it does a better job representing how I think and how I feel. Even though it has a lot of those negative words in it, there's still those small little positive words throughout it that kind of represent that little bit of hope we should have for our futures and for the world. I think having a negative outlook is honestly a very important thing to have, because there are a lot of negatives in the world, and being positive all the time is very draining, and it's honestly quite disappointing to be living in ignorant bliss all the time. I think it's very truthful, and I think that's something we need to have. This is an example of my coding chart, and by looking at it, you can see that I have my outlets like my music and my shows that keep me empowered, that keep me interested, that give me hope, that are exciting for me, in contrast to the real media like news and magazine articles that are honestly quite worrisome, a little bit sad and disappointing for me, because that's what happens in the world. It's very negative, and I feel like you need to have those outlets to keep you sane. The most prominent pattern throughout my research project shows my cynicism and my negativity throughout life. I use a lot of negative words, but I think that's very realistic for who I am and how I think. My world has both negative and positive aspects to it. I think there's a lot of good in the world. There's hope, there's love, there's interconnectedness, there's communication. But life can be a bit of a dumpster fire sometimes, and I feel like I have a lack of control in how I speak and what I can do because I'm so young. And that's very scary to me, but I think, there's a lot of improvement that needs to be done, and I can do it. My research journey was important because not only did it allow me to understand my world and really analyze what's going on around me, but it also allowed me to understand myself. And I think that's a really important part of life, is to understand how you think and how you perceive your world. You're not really going to understand who you want to be and where you want to get to until you understand how you are now.